Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of the Broad Podcaster with me, Jennifer Fierro, here in the Highland Lakes, joined once more with Art Dlugach, the voice of the Llano Yellow Jackets, and we are going to be talking about the Yellow Jackets first. I am aware that there is some big game down the street here in Burnet County this week, Art, but we're going to start with Lana just because the Yellow Jackets had a district road win, and it was a big one. A huge win for y'all.
Well, it was an exciting game, most exciting of the year. Of course, Burnet, game 2, the 29-21 victory that stopped that losing streak to Burnet was certainly huge, but this was district, and it was just a barn burner, as we used to say when I was growing up about ball games that were close. So, Randolph at Randolph Air Force Base takes a 7-0 lead, and I mention that because that's the first time this season that Llano has trailed in 7 games. Then it was 7-7, 14-7 Randolph, 14-14 at the half. Randolph was held by the Jackets defense of not scoring the last 32 minutes and 29 seconds of the game. So credit to the defensive young men and defensive coordinator Matt Anastasio. Jumping way ahead, Ulysses Martinez comes up with a game-clinching interception, his 4th of the year, so that, of course, was huge. Carson Kirkendall carried the ball 29 times, certainly the most for the season, for 154 yards and 2 touchdowns, and has now gone over 1,000 yards in just 7 games for the year. The offensive line of line coach Richard Katner, splendid once more. Edwards, Sandoval, Dylan Kennedy, Hudson Godfrey, Juice Lang, and Brandon Green. And certainly well worth the congratulations. The huge play of the game, and this surprised the Llano coaching staff, that on 4th down from its own 41-yard line, Randolph, with just over 2 minutes to play, decides to go for the first down. It was 4th and about 2 or 3.
What's the score?
Score's tied.
Okay.
So they go for it and don't get it. And the young men mainly credited with the stop, Hayden Manahan and Kyle Gilliland. And Kyle has been hurt much of the season, so what a way for him to come up with that sparkling play along with Hayden. Then the Jackets take the ball and they go down and score with 53 seconds left. You know, they were letting the clock run, I thought was a little too much, but Coach Green knew what he was doing. He wanted to kill as much clock as he could so that Randolph would not have very much time left to tie the game. So Carson got the score on a 10-yard run after a 20-yard pass completion from the 30 to the 10 from Briggs Green to Jackson Dillard. That was big, 20 or 21 yards. And Carson got the score 21-14. And I thought I had a pretty good line on radio by saying that it took Llano 47 minutes and 7 seconds before it ever had a lead in the game. And they had it there. They held it with that interception by Ulysses, and they win it 21-14. And now the Jackets are the only unbeaten team in district. The shocker of the night was what Marion did to Blanco, 48-6. And Marion will be in Llano on Friday night.
Explain why that's shocking. Is it because you thought Blanco would win, or is it because Marion won by so much?
Both.
Okay.
I certainly thought Blanco would win that game. It's conceivable their quarterback was hurt. and that hurt them. But why their defense faltered that much? My goodness, it was like Oklahoma, you might say. And so anybody scoring 48 points on Blanco, it just really was a stunner.
Sure.
So here we go with Friday night, and if Llano beats Marion, it will have a huge leg up on winning district.
So I'm going to ask you a question, and your answer cannot be because you run and pass the football well. Okay? You cannot, those two cannot be your answers.
Okay.
In your opinion, why did Llano win the game? Why did they beat Randolph on Friday?
Well, one of your favorite words, I would say, perseverance. Because, trailing from the beginning, and boy, that quarterback, Aaron Davis, he was tough. And as I say, trailing early, then trailing 14-7, it just seemed like for sure Llano was playing catch up, but they just didn't quit. Another cliche, but certainly true. And Llano goes to 7-0, which is the fourth best start in school history.
How often does Llano play Randolph?
I think that very well could have been their first time.
Okay. Because the great unknown, simply because the two teams have not played each other much. I don't know if this game came down to which team was mentally tougher. And I hate to question that when this may have been the first game between the two programs. So don't want to go there, but certainly we know, knowing the Jackets the way that I do and that coaching staff, they pride themselves on being mentally tough, fighting through things, going through that adversity, keeping each other pumped up. At least every time I've seen the Jackets on the sideline, there's no doubt. They can't have any doubt on that sideline they're going to win every Friday night. And it certainly appeared that way.
Well, I think that's an excellent point. And added to that Llano has had so many easy games. 3 times scoring in the 50s and beating Gerald, which wasn't that easy, but it turned out 48-26. And Coleman was a big surprise, winning by 4 scores in that game. So you come into Randolph knowing they're going to be good. They had beaten Marion 27-13, has lost to Blanco by just 10-7. So you've got to really bowed up, as David Yeager used to like to say, and get ready for a much tougher game, so important a game that it was, and they did it. So just quite a victory. The other touchdown besides the 2 by Carson was a 41-yard touchdown pass to Sam Sultanfuss by Briggs Green.
Yeah, and that was huge. That's another explosive play.
Of course.
From the passing game, especially in a contest like that, where this game comes down to very well, obviously, who had the ball last. The team that won the game was the team that had the ball last.
And Llano had it last because of Ulysses' interception.
Okay, there we go. Here's the thing I don't know. You would.
Maybe.
I don't know that I disagree with going forward on 4th down if you're Randolph with 2 minutes left in the game. Because at that point, I don't know that you get the ball back. And I think that's what their coaching staff was thinking. Because you and I both know Coach Green's spread offense with that personnel can score in seconds. And it sounds like, because how long did it take them to take the lead? They got the ball back with how much time?
2:07. Okay. So then there was 53 seconds. So that means it was about a minute 15 or so.
Okay. So
but that was only 41 yards. If they punt the ball,
that's right.
If they punt the ball to Llano's 20, and they've got the timeouts left, and I'm not sure if they did, talking about Randolph, then they could have used the timeouts and held Llano and gotten the ball back maybe near midfield. It's all hindsight now.
Speculation. And then the other thing I don't know is, did the Yellow Jacket offense wear out the Randolph defense? Did those coaches think that their defense had enough in the tank to stop Llano and either forcing him to overtime or get the Randolph offense the ball back?
Well, give Randolph credit. They held the Jackets to their least amount of points for the season and their least amount of yards, 384. This is a team averaging more than 500 yards a game.
Sure. Okay.
And I don't know whether Coach Green wants me to say this or not, but I'm going to say it, Coach Green, that he sort of whispered it to me. That's why I'm not sure he wanted me to say it, but it doesn't matter now. He was surprised they went for it on 4th down from the 41.
Yeah, I would have liked to have asked the head coach, the Randolph head coach, why. So let's hope the two teams meet again in the postseason. Let's see what they can do. Marion at Yellow Jacket Stadium, Llano Stadium, 7 o'clock on Friday.
Yes, and that should be a dandy, so come on out for that game.
Okay. We're going to close out this segment. We're going to go to Burnet County, and I promise Burnet County residents we will talk about the Bulldogs and the Mustangs in segment number 2. Please stay with us, and please, for all of your local sports, go to TexasChalkTalk.com, and we really want you to like, subscribe, and share the channel.